Sandy Cheeks is thrilled to start her day at Bikini Bottom. She rides her mechanical horse Sparky and gets ready for the daily roundup, as she's got a lot of data to collect. Singing a song about her origins, she proudly declares that she was born and raised in Texas. Although her specialty is marine biology and Bikini Bottom is her home, Texas has her heart. She meets SpongeBob, who shares that he's gained some math skills in her absence. His favorite pastime is catching jellyfish with a net, but despite his enthusiasm, he fails several times while trying to show off. Suddenly, Sandy spots a giant mechanical claw appearing from above the ocean's surface, scooping up the entire ecosystem of Bikini Bottom and carrying it out of the water. Sandy and co. flee just in time as the inhabitants panic and start running. Patrick Star, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs are trapped inside the claw in their homes and restaurants. SpongeBob is heartbroken to see that Bikini Bottom and everyone he ever loved is gone. Sandy uses her gadget to read an inscription at the bottom of the claw, which reads Boots Marine Biology Lab at Galveston, Texas. She is shocked because it's the lab she works for. She decides to call her colleagues Kyle and Phoebe, two scientists at the lab. She learns that the lab is now a division of Gushing Waters Water Parks and the future home of Sea Pals, owned and operated by Sue Nami. SpongeBob can't stop crying, and Sandy promises to get Bikini Bottom back. Sandy and company set off for Texas. Sandy uses math to figure out how to get there from under the sea. Just then, a volcanic vent opens up due to the scoop, and Sandy and SpongeBob ride its bubbles, land on a plane, and then jump off in Texas. Together they glide and try to land in a pool, but get pulled away by a Texas twister. They walk hundreds of miles and get ambushed by rattlesnake bullies. Sandy tries to evade their attacks, but gets bitten and her body becomes swollen. She whistles for help and her family called the Cheeks comes to save the day, her parents, uncle, and grandmother who run a circus business. Sandy tells her family about her friends who got transported to Boots Marine Biology Lab. They promise to drive her there and help her get them back. It turns out Sandy was also a part of the circus, but her love of science won over the circus life. She's the first ever scientist squirrel to live in the ocean. Bikini Bottom and its inhabitants are held captive at Boots Marine Biology Lab, turned into an amusement water park. Its owner, Sue, keeps Fishy, a monstrous flesh-eating fish, as a pet. She scolds her staff for losing SpongeBob, as he is the centerpiece of her project called Sea Pals. Kids love fish but can't cuddle with them, so Sue is working on Sea Pals, which are genetically modified ocean creatures that can breathe air and live in people's homes. Sue designed a 3-phase process. In Phase 1, she feeds the critters her special genetic modification paste. In Phase 2, their DNA is altered by her patented gene machine, turning them into air breathers. And in Phase 3, they're cloned and sold at a retailer. Sue instructs her staff to start Phase 1 immediately on Bikini Bottom's critters. Sue puts Squidward, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs in the gene machine, making them able to breathe outside water and putting them in the play set where children roughly play with them. Sandy part ways with her family again to rescue her friends. She and SpongeBob manage to land in the swimming pool. Sandy scans the place to search for the lab, but Sue's dog Kuda spots them and chases them. Sandy and SpongeBob resort to going through drain pipes and sewers. They eventually reach the lab. Sandy and SpongeBob reunite with their friends, but then Sue and her staff spot SpongeBob. Sandy calls Sue an embarrassment to scientists everywhere and scolds her for scooping up her friends for profit. Sue thanks her for bringing the lab their prized trophy, SpongeBob. Sandy gets locked up in a cage and learns that Sue is going to clone her friends and sell them as pets. The original SpongeBob will no longer exist. Sue thanks her for leading her to the treasure of Bikini Bottom thanks to her scientific research there. Sue shares her story as a little girl who really loved fish and wished she could take them out of the water so she could cuddle and sleep with them. But every time she tried that, they died, which made her frustrated. She used her family's considerable fortune to travel the world. Sue reveals her true self. She's not a human being anymore, but an anthropomorphic supercomputer. She boasts about giving everyone the chance to cuddle with the creatures of the sea. Sandy is heartbroken that her scientific research led to this. She didn't know that Sue was using her to spy on Bikini Bottom. Sue starts cloning SpongeBob. Her pet dog Kuda knocks over the jar full of SpongeBob clones and sets them free. The original SpongeBob pleads with Sandy not to feel bad because this wasn't her fault. He urges her not to give up on saving Bikini Bottom. Sandy's colleagues Kyle and Phoebe decide to turn against Sue. They release Sandy, and she knocks over Sue with a hamster wheel. Sue's head gets detached and eaten by Fishy. The head grows out of the fish, and Sue is thrilled that she's finally a fish. The sphere that contains the Bikini Bottom town cracks and starts to leak out. Sandy and SpongeBob must get it back to the ocean, or everyone will suffocate. Sandy attempts to whistle for her family, but she lost a tooth in the fight. SpongeBob whistles instead, and the Cheeks family comes rushing. Sandy uses her calculations and figures out a way to save Bikini Bottom. Days later, Bikini Bottom attends the Cheeks family performance, sporting diving suits and performing their tricks for them. Kyle and Phoebe are also there, as they were turned into miniature creatures with the help of a shrink ray made by Sandy. The movie ends with Tsunami happily swimming around.